Hello everyone and welcome to glorious Sydney, definitely, where Celtic are right now. The team have travelled all of this way from Glasgow all the way to Sydney and the Allianz Stadium, where they trained earlier and will play Sydney FC tomorrow. Today on the channel we're going to chat a bit about the game and some other bits of news coming out of both Australia and the rest of the world. Just thought I'd move location a wee bit. It was getting a little bit windy where I was in front of the Opera House, so I've just moved. We actually have some footage of Celtic training at the Allianz Stadium earlier today or yesterday. Not really sure what's going on anymore with time zones and days and all of that stuff. There's the stadium there, the Allianz Stadium, relatively new, I believe, where Celtic will face Sydney FC tomorrow, putting out some cones and mannequins. There's some happy Aussies. You can spot Aussies a mile off, can't you? There's the players coming out. Liela Bada there. Carol Starfelt smiling. There's Haksabanovic. There's Ange addressing the players. A wee bit of running there. A wee bit more running. There's some more Aussies. A wee bit more running. Don't know who that guy is. A wee bit of passing now, getting the ball into play. Wee low down angle there, a wee bit of sprinting there, some more running. Hopefully a better crowd tomorrow for the game. And just noting down who's not on his Christmas card list, probably me. There's Stevie Woods, a legend. The goalkeepers getting put through their paces, as they would say. There he is, no laptop in his hand for Gavin Strachan today. Jota just showing off a wee bit there with the ball in the air. Again, no idea who that guy is. There's Ange getting involved now, everyone. Finish, Jota! There we go. Great finish. And what's the goalie doing? Oh, Scott Bain. Wee Shearer celebration from Bain there as well. Don't know quite the story is there. Someone with a book there. Hopefully it's an Ange book. And yeah, as I say, hopefully a better crowd for the game tomorrow. And now the Celtic players taking some photos, signing some stuff. There's a Prestwick Pele himself, James Forrest. There's Jota, Joe Hart, Ange himself, a much loved figure in Australia, of course. Getting a wee photo with Stephen Welsh there. And yeah, thumbs up from Ange, I guess. Kind of run out of things to say now. Thankfully, the video has just come to an end. So yeah, that's what went on earlier today. We also actually get sent some footage of Ange addressing the media in Sydney, just in front of the Sydney Opera House. And for some reason, he's got his players standing awkwardly behind him. Have a wee look.
Mate, that continues sort of. We obviously had a game on the weekend, and the boys have gone through a really sort of tough schedule and come through it pretty strong, but we want to finish strong. We don't have boys will have a break after this week, so 2 more games for us to keep working and hopefully put on some good performances.
What have you realised about this club and how big it is since you've been there? Big fans over there in
Yeah, no, not surprised at all, mate, because even growing up on this side of the world, I was well aware of the size of the football club and the support it had. Not just here, but around the world. But certainly, over the last sort of year or so that I've been in Scotland, the amount of people who've reached out for me from Oz has been brilliant, and really proud to bring the club home and, like I said, put on a couple of good performances.
And the Australian football public's really got behind you going over to Europe. You must be pretty proud to bring the squad back here to your own backyard. Yeah,
look, I am, and I know how important it is. Obviously, again, growing up here, I always look forward to clubs from overseas coming over here, and if I wasn't bringing the team over, I'd be going to the game tomorrow night. So pretty proud to bring them back, and like I said, really important for me that we give a good account of ourselves, because I know we've had tremendous support, not just the last couple of years I've been there, but the club's always had great support here. So I know how important it is for our supporters and the Australian football public and sporting public to see the guys up and close and personal.
So yes, Ange clearly very happy to be back in Australia, but no real let up from Celtic in terms of intensity, judging from that training session. Obviously a bit of kind of photo taking and autograph signing going on at the end, which I think is an important part of the trip as well, acknowledging these Aussie fans, and not just Aussies, but people the other side of the world who get up in the middle of the night to watch Celtic. I think it's really important that the players acknowledge them and really put on a show. And I think that's a huge part of this trip to Australia as well. You know, the intensity remains while certain other players are spotted on holiday enjoying themselves, having a wee drink. Alfredo Morelos. Celtic's players are hard at work, and it's almost just like a continuation of what we've done so far this season. And I really, really get the impression that Ange wants the team to put on a massive, massive performance, well, a couple of massive performances over the next few days. In fact, I think that's what's going to be in his team talk. I think, obviously, without knowing for sure, or even nearly being sure, I would guess that Ange, is going to mention the fact that these fans don't get to see the team often, and the sacrifices that they put in that he's well aware of, having lived in Australia for basically all of his life. And I think he's really going to want to get the players to put on a display for the Celtic fans going out to watch the team over the next couple of matches. And I really hope that happens. We've got pretty much a full squad in Australia as well. Obviously no Carter-Vickers, Maida, Moy or Juranovic, but it will look strong tomorrow against Sydney and against Everton as well at the weekend. I'm not sure we saw him in that footage. We maybe got a really quick glimpse of him, but Callum McGregor was actually involved in training earlier today. I think he's still a bit off being able to play. I really don't think we're going to see him in either of these matches, but it is promising nonetheless that he is just out with the team and taking an active part in training, even if it was non-contact stuff, which it seemed to be. I certainly didn't see him in any of the kind of passing, tackling, moving drills, really. It was just running that I saw him. I know it is a friendly, but I'm going to give a predicted 11 a go. I will surely regret that, given that Ange could literally do anything with his team. He may well name two very different teams for the two matches. For tomorrow, I'm going for Siegrist, Ralston, Welsh, Starfelt, Bernabe, Abelgar, O'Reilly, Turnbull, Abada, Yakimakis and Haksabanovic. But genuinely, who knows? In terms of Sydney, by the way, just looking at their squad, they do have a couple of familiar faces. Adam Lefondre and Jack Rodwell, both on their books, although neither seem to have played for them recently. The apps I was kind of looking at seemed a little bit sketchy, but seems like neither of them have played recently. The other one is Robert Mack, a player I remember scoring, I think, a double for Slovakia against Scotland a few years ago. He was also part of the Ferencváros team that we played last season in the Europa League, so he kind of can't really get away from Ange Postecoglou and Celtic at the moment. So, yeah, they've got some decent players. I know they lost the derby at the weekend, so you would certainly hope that if Celtic turn up, we can put on a bit of a show and score some goals. Just a wee bit of chat I want to have about a couple of the players who aren't with the squad at the moment. Kind of like we're talking about them behind their back to an extent. The first player is Cameron Carter-Vickers, and I just wanted to bring this up because it really is very clever marketing. It's from the US men's soccer team, and they've been putting up billboard messages from Ted Lasso to each of their players ahead of the World Cup. Now, I want to say right away, I've never watched Ted Lasso. I don't actually really know kind of what the plot is with it. I have seen a couple of videos of him giving inspirational team talk, so maybe he's similar to Ange Postecoglou in some way. But yeah, they have tended to stick up these billboards in the hometowns of the players in the US squad. Obviously, Cameron Carter-Vickers doesn't really have a hometown, given that he was born in England, has an American father. But they have put it up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where he visited when he was younger. Cameron, so let me get this straight. Your dad is a French citizen. I'm just thinking, should I be doing this in an American accent? Cameron. Nah, it's not happening. We'll start again. Cameron, so let me get this straight. Your dad is a French citizen who met your mother in Greece, raised you in Essex. You summered in Baton Rouge and now are playing for the US men's national team. If that's not the most American thing I've ever heard of, then I don't know what is. Okay, maybe Susan and Anthony slam dunking an apple pie, but honestly, y'all are neck and neck. That is until you and the boys bring home glory. Then we'll all be saying, look at that bald eagle. It's almost as American as Cameron Carter-Vickers. Eagle enthusiast Ted Lasso. I mean, that is just incredible marketing from the US, whatever it is, national team, whoever's doing it. Maybe it's Ted Lasso himself doing it, but they've done it for like all other players. So if you go on their Twitter, you'll see all the good ones, but obviously just Cameron Carter-Vickers is the relevant one to us. Also, Josip Juranovic, more seriously this, a report today from Stephen McGowan at the Daily Mail saying that Celtic are preparing for offers for Juranovic after the World Cup. He is contracted at the club until 2026. He signed a 5-year deal when he signed just over a year ago. The article says that after unsuccessful negotiations over a new deal, Celtic are braced for bids in January. Now, I think that after all of the recent chat from Ange about him saying that he's not fearful of losing players and saying that Celtic need to be agile in the transfer market, aka being able to replace players quickly and efficiently, I think a lot of people are kind of thinking that Josip Juranovic may be leaving the club soon. I don't think Celtic are going to actively be looking to sell Juranovic. They're not going to be offering Juranovic to clubs. I don't think we need to at all when he's got 4 years effectively, just under 4 years still in his contract. I mean, we've been in worse positions than that. But I do think, as much as he is a good player, I think he is a player we could afford to move on if, a good bid came in for him. It wouldn't even need to be a major bid. I mean, I think if we got something like £15 million for Josip Juranovic, you would happily move him on. Given that we bought him for 2.5 million, I think, 15 million, given that he's a Croatia international, maybe has a really good World Cup, hopefully does, that's what we can maybe receive. You move him on and you aim to improve on him. Because I think for as good as Juranovic has been, especially last season, maybe hasn't quite hit the heights this season. Well, certainly hasn't hit the heights. Champions League, I would say at times, maybe a little bit of a weak link. I don't know if that's... I'm going to have Stevie barging in that door in a couple of minutes because I'm criticising Juranovic. But I think when you look at a lot of the goals we conceded in the Champions League, Juranovic was potentially at fault. And I do actually like him as a player. But I think we're just at this stage where, given what Ange has said, we are going to have players departing the club. I think basically from every transfer window from now on, obviously more likely to happen in the summer than the January window. Some departures will hurt more than others. Juranovic leaving would obviously hurt Stevie. We wouldn't hear from him for about 5 or 6 weeks. But I think the vast majority of Celtic fans would feel all right with Juranovic moving on if we got a good fee for him and if we replaced him well. Not even replaced him, just improved upon him. And I think we all have faith in Ange to be able to do that as well. And maybe part of that is that he only came in at 9th in what we are dubbing our Celtic Power rankings, effectively a ranking of our players of the season so far, done collaboratively by a number of the team here at 67 Hail Hail. So it wasn't just me, it wasn't just John, a number of us had our say in this, and come on Greg Taylor, number one. We may revisit this in a live show at some point soon and give a wee bit more thoughts and opinions on why certain players are ranked in certain positions. Elsewhere, Japan apparently want Ange Postecoglou as their next manager should their current manager Moriyasu fail spectacularly at the World Cup. How much time should I spend thinking about this? I think that'll probably do, to be honest. Ange's going nowhere. He's certainly not going to manage an international team anytime soon. And one final thing I want to bring to your attention before I go, that Ploughboy CSC in Philadelphia are holding their 10th anniversary supporters Fela, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's taking place from Thursday the 9th of February to Sunday the 12th of February at the Plough and the Stars in Philadelphia, United States of America. It will be what they say their biggest and best Fela yet. George McCluskey, Celtic hero, George McCluskey is the special guest with plenty more Celtic themed events and music. But the real reason I'm telling you about all of this is that for some reason, but very kindly, I have been invited along to the event to do a bit of stuff for the channel, a bit of other stuff in the actual event as well, I think. And yeah, we're going to America. You're all coming to America as well, because we're going to have a good few videos and consecutive days coming from Philadelphia in the middle of February. So yeah, that's quite exciting. You can actually be there in person as well, possibly even be on a video if you fancy it, if you're going along to the event. There's a link with details for the event and hotel arrangements that I have stuck in the description. So check that if you want to come along for the ride. Who needs Sydney when you've got Philly, eh? Right, everyone, we'll be back tomorrow for the reaction. It will be relatively early, probably like... should have worked this out beforehand. But 11, just before 11 o'clock, probably. So yeah, it's an early start for the game tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. kickoff. The game is live on Celtic TV as well. So yeah, enjoy it. Hopefully not the same pressure that we're used to as Celtic fans. Hopefully the team can turn up, score a few goals and put on a performance. We'll chat to you after the match.